Choosing a welder to buy was probably one of the hardest decisions I've had to make in a very long time. And I settled on like the BossWeld 185 MST or MST 185. It's I believe Australian company. It's probably made in China. I definitely imagine. But yeah, I really want to get into welding. I originally wanted to really get into TIG welding, especially with aluminium, because I thought it would be a super cool thing to learn. But then I discovered that like to TIG weld aluminium, you need to have an AC/DC TIG welder basically, and without forking out like at least $1,000, there isn't really a way that I could get something like that and start TIG welding stuff. So I changed plans a little bit and decided that I would look at getting a multiprocess machine once I did a bit of research and even found out that they existed. That I would get a multi-process machine that could do stick, MIG, and TIG welding. And I thought that was probably my best option if I wanted to get started, because then I have all three different types of welding that I like have access to and I can try. So I spent a lot of time like attempting to do research on like particular models of welders that you can buy from a retailer here in Australia, and I wasn't really able to find a whole lot of information other than like your really sort of big brands, I suppose. And like the only real one that I was actually finding any info on was Sigweld. And Sigweld stuff is kind of expensive. It's not like the most expensive you can get, but I just didn't have that kind of money to spend on a welder. I want to get into it. I don't know if it's something that I'm definitely going to continue to keep on doing, so I didn't want to invest a whole lot of money. And that is why I settled on the BossWeld MST185. And there's a couple of reasons I chose this welder over a couple of the other ones that I was looking at. I set myself a budget of $500 pretty much for the welder itself. Obviously, there's a few other things that you've got to get to be able to go ahead and start welding stuff. But the reason I chose the BossWeld machine over a couple of the other ones that I was looking at, which were all $500 pretty much, was the fact that it seemed like a really good like machine for the price. It runs on 10 amps. It was the only one that I could find like for around $500 that actually has an input for like TIG torch control, so you could put a foot pedal in there or switch on your gun, I believe anyway. It was the only one I was able to find that had that. It looks the part. Like it does look like a good machine. It doesn't look too cheap or anything like that. And most importantly, it pretty much came with like everything. So other than a TIG torch, which I'm still gonna have to get, but it came with a regulator. So there's that guy in there. It actually came with this pretty neat manual as well. So like I haven't really read it in detail yet, but it seems to actually go like pretty in depth into like quite a lot of stuff. So that's pretty cool, especially when you're starting out, I suppose. So yeah, like disclaimer, I know almost nothing about welding. I've been using my dad's crappy like Renegade gasless machine, which is like awful. I wouldn't recommend one of them at all. It welds things, but not very well, and the welds are really ugly. So yeah, I went BossWeld. You can get it from Bunnings for $4.99. The guy I actually spoke to at Bunnings about it, he happened to be a welder. Like he used to do it for a career basically, and he was telling me that his friend bought one of these and they built pretty much like a whole camper trailer out of it. They only had a few issues with duty cycle like a couple times because if you've been looking at this machine, you'll know it's got a 7% duty cycle at 180 amps. And once I actually sort of understood how duty cycle like works, then I wasn't really too concerned about it. And I think around this price point too, you don't get that much better. Like a couple of the other ones I was looking at were at 10%, but the difference between 10% and 7%, like at 180 amps, really isn't a whole big deal, I suppose. So yeah. The other really like big thing for me when I was picking something was getting something that had a 10 amp plug. So there's 180 amps. And I wanted to get a machine that had a 10 amp plug, even though I do have like a 15 amp plug in my shed. I'm not going to be here forever, and I kind of wanted something that, like, I don't know, if I need, like, a friend wanted something welded, I could just take the welder and like go over there and do it, and not have to worry about having to have like a 10 amp, a 15 amp plug available. So that was kind of cool. And yeah, it comes with your regulator, all your leads, basically. A pretty okay looking MIG torch, like it looks pretty decent. Comes with rollers and gas hose and a few other consumables, which I'm assuming are inside that box there. But yeah, that was important too, that it pretty much came with everything but gas to actually start welding. So I need to get myself a bottle of gas still to actually be able to start using this. But from the guy I spoke to at Bunnings, he's actually used one of these. He says it's a really, it's a good machine for the price. I couldn't really find anything cheaper than $500 from a retailer that did, MIG, stick, and TIG. So that's why I went the BossWeld one. It's a Australian brand as well, so that was hopefully with warranty I shouldn't have an issue. But if it's I was looking at buying an eBay welder or an Amazon welder or whatever, but I just one, you can't find any information out there about them. I couldn't really even find anything about this either, other than from BossWeld, the actual company. I couldn't really find anything. So I don't know, if someone's looking at buying one of these, hopefully this video helps you make the decision. I haven't actually used it yet, so I can't vouch for how nicely it welds or whatever, but I think for what I want to do, I want to learn MIG. I'm pretty crap at, because that thing I don't think you can be good at a gases MIG welder, but I want to get better at MIG. I've never sticked before, not really too interested in it, but I can do it if I need to. And then I can learn to TIG with steel as well. So obviously I can't do aluminium TIGging, but I could do aluminium MIGging if I really wanted to. But yeah, so I think I'm gonna get started with MIGging on this. Have a few project ideas that I want to start on, but that's why I picked this one over the others. If that helps you make a decision, awesome. If not, enjoy this absolutely pointless video. But yeah, cool.